What's up? It's your boy Rampage Jackson. I'm here with the best co-host, Bear DeGidio.
We're here. We got another amazing guest, but Rampage, before we go into this guest, we are having the biggest sale of the year. JAXXON.com up to 50% off site-wide. The best-selling chain stacks, our best-selling iced-out chains, sweat-proof, custom class, durable, made to be worn every day, and styles for everybody, from bracelets to chains. Make sure you guys go check out JAXXON.com, up to 50% off site-wide right now. And don't forget, if you're looking for all the limited edition clothing, you can go to JAXXONClub.com. You can use promo code YT15 for 15% off. And you can catch the shorts that we've been training in, the jackets, the eyewear, everything that the guests have been wearing. We appreciate everybody's support. Before we jump right into this podcast with this amazing guest, we just want to say thank you for everything you guys have been doing. Leave comments and make sure you guys tag us on Instagram if you've been picking up some pieces.
What's up? This your boy Rampage Jackson, and we got Bear. But today we got a special guest, pro wrestling legend, my brother Chavo Guerrero Jr.
Yo, what's up, man? Good to reconnect, man.
I know, it's been a while.
It's been a minute. We used to live right close to each other. So our boys went to high school together. And
you guys live next to each other?
Yeah, we lived really close together for a while. And then he moved on up.
Hell no.
That must have been a crazy street.
Nah, man, it was cool, man. We used to have we used to come over sometime, kick it around the house at the pool and stuff. I used to see him driving his lowrider down the street.
Yeah. He was driving one of his 15, 20 cars. Everybody changed all the time. Every time I saw you got a new car, man. It was
every time.
Yeah, I'm like, hey, where's the Lambo? He's like, oh, it burnt down. I say, what? It burnt?
Burnt down? Wait, your Lambo burnt down?
Yeah, I used to let my friend help me out with my cars because I'm lazy as fuck. And he used to take them to the shop and stuff. And one day he took my Lambo into the shop and it never came back. He was showing out in my Lambo. I heard stories. He was bar hopping. He's showing out with one of his friends, getting drunk. I'm like, okay, how she look? Then I find out it was one of his guy friends. I'm like,
oh man, what are you doing?
Hey, what are you doing, man? Why are you showing out in my car with one of your guy friends? He's like, we was picking up ladies. I'm like, it's a 2-seater.
It's a 2-seater.
Yeah. What's going on, bro?
You're picking up ladies.
But he thought I was going to kill him. But you know,
did you kill him?
No, I didn't get mad. I was upset, but I didn't get mad because I saw the car. He could have died. I don't know how he survived that. But the police came to my house. I was streaming on Twitch at the time. The police came to my house and knocked on the door, and they walked in and they had me take my shirt off and check my chest because they was looking at me like, do you know where your car is? I said, yeah, it's in the shop. And they were like, no, your car is flipped over, burnt up. It was in a bad accident. And I said, let me see. Because they said,
see if you have like road rash.
Yeah, they were like, no way you could survive that crash because he's a little guy.
Yeah, wow.
If it was me, I probably would have been dead.
Yeah, I don't know how you fit in that car. When'd you buy it? Because you had your R8 and you got smoked on the freeway, right? So next thing you know, he's bought a Lambo too. I was like, dang, man.
I had the R8 and it was the first one of its kind. So it was a V8. It wasn't a V10.
Oh yeah.
That's before they were just testing the market.
Yeah.
I was like one of the first people in Orange County.
I know. I love that car, man. The R8s. I just like the stance of them, the way they sit. They're tight.
Yeah. It had really good handling. I really love that car. Some old lady teabagged me.
No. What? T-bone.
You got teabagged by an old lady?
I got teabagged by an old lady.
Well, maybe it might have been an old man.
She T-boned me. You know, it's a verbal typo.
Yeah. So you got teabagged by a dude on the freeway.
By old dude on the freeway.
No, he wasn't even on the freeway. It was in Huntington Beach somewhere. Me and my friend, I just got out of the shop. No, hell no.
It could have been.
That's rude, bro.
No, it could have been. I want to kick this off the break. We have a legend here, and I appreciate you coming through on the Jackson podcast. You're the first pro wrestler we've had on the podcast. We've had some amazing MMA legends, and now we get to kick it off with you in the pro wrestling category. You've been working on set on Iron Claw. It's the new movie with Zac Efron, and it comes out tomorrow.
Yeah, man.
Break down what that's been like, working on set. How'd you get involved? Like, I really want to know a lot about this.
Yeah, so the director, Sean Durkin, he was trying to get a hold of me. And, you know, in Hollywood, you get a lot of emails about bullshit, projects, like not real projects, we want to do this, want to do that. And everybody's a bunch of talkers, right? So I had a couple of emails and I was kind of, okay, I'll get back to him. Because it wasn't him. It was like his people trying to get back to me. And then I got a text from one of my Glow actresses, Allison Brie. And Allison Brie, she's married to like Dave Franco and stuff. So she's a big time actress. She's like, hey, Chavo, there's this director that's trying to get a hold of you. And, you know, he's a really great director. He helped her husband, Dave Franco, Davey, she calls him Davey, do his directorial debut. You may want to talk to him. So I, you know, right away, I got a hold of him and talked to him and met with him. And it was like, guy saw his vision and then kind of researched it. He's this incredible director. So we made the movie. That's how it happened, man.
But you've been doing TV shows too. You was in that Rock TV show.
Yeah, so I first started, I did the Glow TV show on Netflix, and then I went to Young Rock, and then, you know, other things in between. Started Heels, there was another show, but then the pandemic hit, so that's when I went to Young Rock. And then I was filming Young Rock in Memphis.
Oh, for real?
I was in Memphis for 4 months, living downtown Memphis, man. I had a
good time.
A little rough.
It gotten rough.
It's a little rough, but hey, it was cool. And then I started filming Iron Claw in Baton Rouge, so I was driving back and forth, and I had first class flights in my contract, but I couldn't take them because like I would get off set on get done with set on, you know, Thursday in Memphis, and there's no direct flights, so I'd had to drive, just get in my car and start drive to Baton Rouge right then. Work and set the next morning and then drive back. So I was
How long
like,
was that drive?
It's like about 6.5, 7 hours.
Damn.
Yeah, 6 hours about.
You had to do that a lot.
Back and forth a lot.
But I heard you pro wrestler. Y'all used to doing that.
Totally. You know, and then the cars now kind of drive themselves. So I kind of just I'd be kind of like just letting it drive itself. I get the beep, 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 beep. Put your hands on the steering wheel. All right.
Well, you got the Tesla that drives itself?
I got the Tesla now at home, but that one was like even like the rental cars, man. They like all these cars got the drive itself type model. And they not completely drive itself, but you know, you get them in the lane, just touch this and it kind of just keeps going.
I'd probably be scared of that though. That new technology.
I keep my hands on the steering wheel a little bit. You know, I kind of just make sure that I let it drive, but I don't let it drive.
If I get one of those cars, I'd be scared of me because I'd be trying to get road head all the time.
Yeah, you be saying that. It'd be.
Now we know what happened to the Lambo. So break down, what's it like working with an actor like Zac Efron? He's such an amazing actor. He looked jacked in the movie. He looked like he knew what he was doing. He looked like he was playing it looked like he was playing the part.
Jacked. You know, he's a machine, man. He's awesome. Great guy. Like he's like you. He doesn't know he's Quentin Jackson. You know, he's so cool, good guy. But so does Zac Efron's the same way. Just a cool dude. Jacked. He's like, you know, he brings it. You know, he knew what he had to look like. So we'd be in the ring training and he'd be like, hold on, I gotta get this meal in. He'd go get his meal in real quick. And another hour later, he'd be getting a shake in. You know, he was just like a machine, just nonstop. Yeah,
I met him before. I like him. He's a cool guy.
Yeah. Real cool guy.
Yeah, real cool guy. I'm a fan of the other actor. I don't know his name, but
Jeremy Allen White.
Yeah,
the Bear.
Mm-hmm. That's his name.
Yeah, Jeremy Allen White does the Bear on Netflix.
Matty Matheson, that show with the cook, Matty Matheson.
I saw him in Shameless.
Yeah,
Shameless.
Yeah. That's what people know him as.
Yeah.
But he's like the Bear now. It's like big, massive show on Netflix. But
Cocaine Bear.
No, not Cocaine Bear. That's a different show, man. But he's like a chef, a big chef. It's like a #1 show on Netflix, but or Hulu. I'm sorry. Yeah, he's great. He's awesome. He was really good in the ring. God, he picked it up super fast.
You trained both of those guys?
Both those guys. Everybody in the ring. Every actor in the ring got in the ring. I trained them all.
Wow, that's cool, man. That's cool. Did you know I originally wanted to be a pro wrestler?
I know, man. I know this, son.
Oh, okay. I thought you maybe forgot.
No, I know this, man. That's you're who's better for if you didn't have that right hand, you would have been in pro wrestling ring for sure, man.
Yeah, man.
How good of a wrestler would he have been?
Oh my God. He'd be perfect.
Yeah,
still be killing it.
You would have been the sickest part in wrestling with the chain, the camo shorts.
No, I wouldn't wear the chain if I wouldn't went to pro wrestling because of Junkyard Dog.
Oh, that Junkyard Dog.
Yeah, so I wouldn't have done the chain. You know, people think I copied off Junkyard Dog with the chain, but my little brother is the one who actually gave me the chain. Growing up, JYD should have been my favorite wrestler, but you know, the Ultimate Warrior was.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
JYD was a really good friend of my dad's. Really, really, really good. Like in fact, my dad at one point he had a Porsche 911 and he was traveling, doing stuff. He left at JYD's house. So part of JYD's house burnt down, right? So my dad calls, hey, how's my car? And he's like, well, your car's fine. What about my house? That guy was awesome, man.
You met him when you was a kid?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. He was Sylvester Ritter was his real name. But yeah, man, just a larger than life guy, like super big personality, lovable. Like everybody loved this guy. Like he's like real infectious, like him, very infectious.
I wish I would have met him.
Yeah, man.
In terms of Zac Efron on set, you know, obviously I don't think he had much wrestling experience, right? Going
None,
to the show.
zero. Never stepped foot in a wrestling ring before, but we changed that. And if you see the movie, God, he really looks like a wrestler. You know, I got a lot of tricks up my sleeve that to make these guys look more like a wrestler as much as I can. You know, I'm not training them for WrestleMania. I'm training him to look like a wrestler in a wrestling scene. Two different things, but to make him look like that. So there's a lot of little tricks we do. And, you know, when you're on set, it's not, you know, these guys are coming off these other projects. So it's not like I have, 6 months with them. Sometimes I have 3 weeks. Sometimes I have 3 days. It just depends what, the budget, the, every production is different, like their availability, that kind of stuff. If they're injured or not, sometimes they get sick. So sometimes we got to give them like the accelerated version of pro wrestling. Like, that's kind of how I get it done.
Can you just look at a guy and know if he can be a good wrestler or not?
It's footwork, man. What I do with pro wrestlers, like he does with amateur wrestling or MMA. I can tell before somebody even, as they're stepping in the ring, if they know how to pro wrestle, just by their footwork. And then if they circle, what they start circling, I can tell, he knows what he's doing or he just knows some moves. Two different things. I can tell. Footwork's everything. And pro wrestling is no different than any other martial arts or any other sport. It's footwork. Footwork's everything. It's pivot, a lot of pivoting, and that's what we do.
Have you ever wrestled against someone that you was worried about hurting you by mistake?
God, all the time, man. All the time. You're on our guard, because pro wrestling's got a lot of guys that were really big, tough guys and got into pro wrestling. So I was always, you're leery sometimes. And, sometimes it goes great and sometimes it doesn't go great. So I fought in the ring, like 100 times. Different times, just having to go at it, because somebody's taking advantage of you, or I don't want to lose to him. All right, well, we just bring it, But we got little tricks too. We stay close to the ropes, I don't really stay in the middle of the ring too much. There's little tricks that we have to even out the size ratio.
It's kind of interesting though, because you grew up in a family of wrestlers. Like, did you always know that you wanted to be a wrestler?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
What was the family dynamic like?
Oh man, we had a wrestling ring in our backyard. Legitimately, that was our swing set. I didn't have swings. It was that our swing set was a wrestling ring. So yeah, my entire life, that was our job. Like wrestling has fed my family for over 85 years. My grandfather started in 1937. That's the only job we've ever really had is pro wrestling. So I'm still doing pro wrestling, just in a different aspect. I'm doing it in film now, but it's still pro wrestling what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So you retire, you won't get back in the ring and do a match?
You never stop. You never stop. So I'm always in the ring. I got a ring set up in Irvine. So you're always in the ring. You never stop. You never have a retirement match. At least I won't.
I see Ric Flair old ass still out there.
Yeah, he has like 15 retirement matches. I swear, every time I see him, it's my last match. He does another one, right? But here and there, he's getting to the point that he's got to just but they do it the right way. They'll bring him in and he'll be somebody's manager and you gotta punch somebody and kind of back off, But I don't think he should be getting in the ring anymore. He's had some health issues as well,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just saw Ric Flair. He was just down here at Jackson. He was filming a commercial for us for our chains. We were having
Rick's
a
best.
sell.
He's so infectious. What a great guy, right? Good, super friend of the family. I've known him forever. Had many drinks with Ric Flair. He loves my wife. He can drink. He loves my wife. Every time he sees me, he always sidesteps me. He goes, "You still married to him?" he's awesome. But he's a good guy.
So he could still drink and put it down, huh?
He paces himself now, but back in the day, man, he would drink. Like that was just his thing. Like he would, it'd be last call. Him and my Uncle Hector would be hanging out because all my family known him, right? Him and my Uncle Hector would hang out and get last call. So Ric Flair would go, all right, I need 25 beers and 25 shots of kamikazes. He used to like kamikazes. So my Uncle Hector would be like, who's that for? He's like, what's for us? He's like, I can't drink 25 beers and 25 kamikazes and last call. I'm like, yeah, we had. And they would just start putting them down and passing them off. And totally. That's Ric Flair though. And he would never let you pay for a bill, ever.
Really?
No, I'd have to sneak bills from him if they were small.
What a guy.
Like small bills. I wouldn't take the big bills, but yeah.
Was he balling like that?
Oh, well, balling. That was his gimmick. You don't pay for a drink. He pays for the drinks. That's just the way it goes. And he he would say that, sometimes, back in the day, he'd work in a small town and he'd make, $5,000 just for that night. And he'd wake up with $5 in his pocket because he'd spend it all every night, just buying everybody's drink. He'd buy everybody drinks in the bar, just go.
I mean, it doesn't surprise me. He's one of the nicest, most charismatic people I've ever met. And he's very, very, very respectful.
Oh, he's great.
He walks in a room, like he is so nice to everybody in the room.
He's great.
And everybody at the company is like, can't wait to shoot with Ric Flair again.
It's Ric Flair, man.
He's a legend.
Ric Flair, he's a legend. Yeah. He's a legend. But he'd ball there like Q.
He does
here.
the same thing.
I know. Yeah. I remember when we went. But some of my friends still talk about that when he did a little stint for TNA wrestling when I was there, and then we went to Vegas. So I'd called the club and we got set up. So he shows up at the table and all my boys are there. Some big old wrestler guys there and stuff. And we're at XS or whatever. He breaks out like 1,001s and just starts making. He just starts making it rain. It's all over the ground. And I go, Q, this isn't a strip club, right? He's like, I know, man, but I love making it rain. I'm addicted to making it rain. You remember that?
Yeah. I was addicted to it.
It was all over the ground, and he was like, "That's their tip. That's their tip." And it was all over the ground, and random dudes would be coming over trying to pick up money.
Yeah, I get mad at that, man.
Yeah.
It's for the ladies, man.
It's for the ladies.
Yeah, the guy was trying to pick up your money.
Oh, guys always try to sneak.
Yeah,
something.
they put like chewing gum on their shoes and
Look, gas money.
You love the strippers, huh?
No.
Not the strippers, just making it rain.
I don't know why I got addicted to that.
Making it rain?
Yeah, I don't know why I got addicted.
That's a nice gimmick.
Yeah, man.
Ric Flair buys out shots for everybody.
Bro, over the years, I think about now as I gotten older, it was a waste of money. But the most fun I ever had making it rain was in the Philippines.
Oh, well, Philippines, they don't sleep. They don't start. The Philippines does not start. The clubs don't start like 4 o'clock in the morning. Like they just don't stop. We got there one time. It was like 1:45 at night, and it was kind of dead. And I'm like, oh, let's take off. Like, no, stay. It gets more busy. And I'm like, what? And by 3:15, it was pumping. I'm like, right now, I gotta go to bed, man. I'm old.
Yeah, same thing. Malaysia's the same way. Singapore's the same way. They go out all night.
They don't sleep, man. I landed one time in Singapore and I'm looking around. These guys are playing like full court basketball and stuff. I'm like, what time is it? It's like 6:30 in the morning. It's just going. They don't. Yeah. I don't know. It's crazy.
I like it. I like the communities down on the go.
From the Philippines, right?
I love that place. Everybody's awesome. So nice.
Yeah.
But if you make it rain there, it's like cockroaches when you turn the light on. Everywhere. Everybody, guys, you got to push the guys off. That's my most fun place to make it rain because like the money, the smallest bill is like 2 cents to us.
Oh yeah, so you just
making it rain.
Oh, so you throwing it?
Oh, you just throwing it.
That's awesome. Like your glasses, man. There's the new shades.
Yeah. Oh yeah, man.
Those are tight, man.
Yeah, we gotta get you a pair.
Those are tight.
He pulls it off nicely, huh?
He looks
I told him
good.
he's like a model.
Yeah, because they fit my face. I got a big ass face, so these glasses they don't want to fit my face like this. So I love them.
Big old head. I mean, one time we were rolling at his old gym and. He let me get behind him, and I got him I tried to get him into the rear naked choke, and I couldn't put my hand around his head. He started laughing.
You guys rolled together?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I mean, we rolled, but he's let me.
Yeah. Were you practicing your moves?
No, we just rolled. I used to have a gym down there as well.
Yeah.
Down.
Oh, so you guys would just work out?
Yeah, we just train.
Just little.
That's cool.
Little stuff.
I bumped into you at the other gym sometimes. What was that? 24-hour fitness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's when you were getting ready for one of your fights and sweating and just be on cardio.
I used to bump into him in the gym down there.
Yeah.
Damn. So you guys have a good history together.
Oh yeah.
Each other, man.
That's awesome,
man. Totally.
It's good when people actually know each other when they sit down, and then it can be a little bit more relaxing. Sometimes you watch these interviews, people don't know anything about anybody. They sit down, and it's kind of just like seems so forced,
Yeah, I have to be honest. Like he have on a lot of guests from all over, like boxers and stuff like that, and I only know a few boxers. So those podcasts, I'm learning about them as we go.
Oh yeah. But they got to be fans of yours too, man.
Oh, they all are.
Yeah, come on.
And they all are really excited to sit here and kind of just learn about him too. So it kind of goes both ways. When did you first get your start in WCW, WWF, like WWE? How did you really get involved with this? Because I know obviously your family and the history, but when did you personally come into the fold?
Well, my entire life we've wrestled, our entire lives, but making a career out of it. So in 1993, I did my debut here at the Olympic Auditorium in LA. It's gone now. It's now a big Korean church, but that was where they had the Olympics in 1932. So that was like the Madison Square Garden of the West back in the day. Every boxer came out of there, Muhammad Ali, Roberto Duran, Carlos Palomino, all these boxers there. But I had my debut there, but then, you're dipping your foot in the water a little bit. So in 1995, early 95, I was a bartender. I was a bartender at TGI Fridays back in the day, flipping bottles and stuff and that. So then I decided, that's it. I got to do this. So I quit and moved to El Paso, Texas, started living with Eddie as he was living there to training for wrestling. And like 10 months later, I started training. And 10 months later, I was in WCW. That's where I started.
Yeah.
Well, you started as tag team partners with him? Or?
No, I started as singles. No. As a singles. I mean, we would tag here and there, but I started as a singles wrestler.
No.
Yeah.
Wow.
Do you feel that the WWF compared to where it's at today and the WWE in today's time, do you feel like it's a completely different game?
Well, like anything, it evolves.
Yeah.
Sports evolve. Look like motocross. What they did, 10 years ago, now they're doing triple flips, all these different stuff that they never did before, right? It just evolves. And look at MMA. When MMA first started, it was, jiu-jitsu versus karate, kung fu versus wrestling. Now everybody's a hybrid. So it just evolves. I mean, it's evolved from 2, 3, 4 years. From you started, it's evolved,
Right.
So pro wrestling is absolutely evolved. And these guys are incredible athletes. I'm still a huge fan, we still watch a lot. But God, they're such better athletes than we are. They could do so many more stuff, much more flips and stuff. But what we do in pro wrestling really is we tell stories. That's what you do. So all those moves help tell the stories, but those moves themselves are not the story. Just like if you're in a movie, car crashes and explosions, they help tell the story. But if you're just blowing stuff up, it doesn't really mean anything, right? So same thing in pro wrestling. And I think nowadays a lot of guys are relying on those moves instead of telling great stories. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because look at a guy like Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio, when he was younger, he could do so much more stuff, but he's such a better wrestler now because he would do 15 like head scissors and stuff back in the day, but now he does one at the right time and it means everything.
Mm. And how you feel about Brock Lesnar and Bobby Lashley coming over to MMA? Did that make you want to get over there?
Man, I was too old, man. But as younger, I wanted to. We cross promotion a lot as kids. So my grandfather was he was like a student of the game. So he didn't just pro wrestle. He would, books in jiu-jitsu. He was really big into like Karl Gotch, in Japan, guys were catch wrestling, big in striking and stuff. So he would kind of teach us all that kind of stuff growing up. So we were Guerreros were kind of almost MMA before MMA in a sense, before it was cool. And then once I started seeing guys, transition over, it was cool to see, it was cool to see Brock. Brock was a freak anyways, a freak wrestler. But UFC, I would say, we say pro wrestling is fake, or pro wrestling is this. Well, pro wrestling is entertainment. We're the only ones that really admit we're entertainment. And UFC, once you make $1 for a sport, it's not a sport anymore. It's entertainment, and we've proven like you guys like Conor McGregor, he's shown he's not the best fighter out there anymore. Like he's amazing, but he's not the best. Mm-hmm. But as soon as he comes back, he's going to get that title shot. And why? It's because he puts asses in seats and makes money. If there's no money being made in UFC, well, then there's no sport, right? So you got guys like Brock Lesnar and stuff going over to UFC, and I think his third fight, he was fighting for the title, right? Why? Because dollar signs. Right. He jumped a lot of people. So that was cool to see. It was really cool to see. But I was like, whoa, hey, MMA is not that different from pro wrestling as far as it's entertainment wise. There's a lot of times I wanted to call Dana White up and say, hey, you owe me $69.95 for that pay-per-view because it was boring as shit. Yeah. Right? But sometimes, you got these fights that, wow, gosh dang, you got there on the edge of your seat. And did the fight really matter? Do you really remember what they really did? I remember, there's an old saying that people will not remember what you say or do, but they will remember how you made them feel. Mm. And what do we remember about Q? We remember knocking people out, and I remember that power bomb from Japan, wham, and the woo, right? Yeah. That's what you remember, right? Yeah. He could do everything.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, and I always loved when Rampage was always like he's a wrestler, but does he wrestle? Not really. And I go, why don't you wrestle? He goes, man, ain't nobody want to see me hump no leg. they want to see me knock somebody out. But it's true.
He's always thinking like that, though.
But it's true. It's true, and that's why he's done really, really well in his sport.
Yeah.
You know, well, not just his talent, but his marketing and his personality.
Yeah.
Have you met Ronda Rousey?
I never met her, man. I never met her.
Have you seen her wrestle?
Oh yeah.
How is she? How would you rate her?
I think she's MMA. I mean, she was pioneer of the women. Like, she's probably the reason why the women are on every card now. And pro wrestling, it's very hard to, go from one discipline and be put at the top somewhere else. So I think she did really well for her time, small time in the sport. Small. How do you say it without getting choked out? I don't want to get my arm broken. But no, she did really well for having her the short training part that she had, and they were elevated her so fast. So I think she kind of came in, did her stuff, and kind of got out really smart, made a lot of money, and
that's it.
That's it, man. Yeah, she did it right.
What about Logan Paul? Have you been watching him?
Yeah, he's doing good. So
he just took the belt from Rey Mysterio.
Yeah. So what's really cool about Logan Paul is he shouldn't be as good as he is.
Yeah.
But what he does is not really what we do in pro wrestling. He wrestles, 6-8 times a year. I was wrestling 4 times a week. So he'll come on and work on a match, for a whole month or whatever. So it better be good. I would get to the arena, and an hour later, you're wrestling. Who am I wrestling? Okay, let's go. So we were much more improvised, much more as catch as catch can type thing. That's what the name of pro wrestling really is catch as catch can, action and reaction. So it's almost like a stand-up comedian. You got the guys that, have planned out everything A to Z, and they go out there and they go A to Z. And if there's something that doesn't go right, they're kind of screwed, right? Yeah. But you got the guys that have an outline, and then they get out there, and then they start with the outline, but then they start playing off the crowd and wherever that night takes them as far as what happens. That's the ones I like because they're very improvised, and that's what what's really we do in pro wrestling. So I'm curious to see Logan Paul, how he's going to progress in that, and hopefully he gets to that improvisation that we do a lot. That'd be great.
Yeah,
but he's really good. What he's doing is he's great.
It's interesting though, because like a fighter, like you kind of going into a fight knowing how you're going to attack the fight, the guy, you kind of have a game plan. But do you go into a wrestling match and be like, okay, I'm going to throw him here, then he's going to catch me, or you guys have to do it in the ring? How do you do that? How do you improvise that?
You're hurt a lot of times, so I can't really just like, okay. Unless I'm going to do something, unless I get to the top rope, say, hey, if I go to the top rope, I may do this if you're outside. Okay, great. But for the most part, we're at the top of the game. We just go in there and just kind of improvise it and do it, and kind of, I just mannerisms, it's like a sixth sense. You get to knowing what everybody does, and I know their move sets a lot of times, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes I'm turning around, I'm getting a punch in the face when I was like, oh, I didn't expect that.
I'd be mad as fuck.
Oh no, there's times like, whoa, okay, I'll give you one. Boom, I'll give you, okay, bam. But it just, there's some people that are much more skilled than other people.
Yeah. Who is the best you ever worked with?
Gosh, man, I've worked with a lot of the guys, but you got to say Eddie was one of the best, of course. Chris Benoit, Kurt Angle. But then, working with guys like Undertaker was amazing at what he does. Kane at what he did. God, there was so many of them that I've wrestled everybody, but a lot of the older guys like Mr. Perfect, they were just masters of their sport. Arn Anderson. I wrestled Ric Flair when I was younger. When I first started in the business, I was so nervous too. But we didn't even talk. And I was getting ready to go out, I'm kind of, warming up, and I'm really kind of nervous and kind of slapping myself. And he looks at me and goes, hey, relax, kid. I got you. I say, all right, we're going up there. And I just followed. He just led me around. It was awesome.
Did you beat him that match?
Shit, no, man. That's Ric Flair. That's Ric Flair, man. He did give me a couple good chops. That, bam,
oh, man, those chops hurt, huh?
Yeah, man.
They're loud.
Yeah, they're loud and they hurt. And you're like, man. It's like anything. You get ring hard. We get chop hard. We get all that. So once you've been doing it a whole bunch, once I've been wrestling Chris Benoit for, 3 straight months, It doesn't hurt anymore because you're used to it, you know.
You get ring hard. You think you get hard if you got in the ring with them?
Dang, son.
Hey, hey, I used to be a big fan of Undertaker when I was a kid. When he was Master of Pain.
Until he big times you, right?
Well, I don't want to talk about that.
What?
I don't want. You know why I don't want to talk about that? Because I think about it.
Yeah.
Because I think about it now. As I get older. When I met him when I was 17 years old.
Yeah.
And at 17, I was wrestling in high school. I was wrestling for state. He probably thought I was a grown ass man. And now that people ask me for pictures and not autographs no more, people ask for pictures. Now sometimes when I'm not taking pictures,
right.
if it's a kid, I'm like, how old are you? If he said 18, I'm like, man, I'm busy right now. I'm on a date or I'm eating. But if they like a kid, I give it to them because they don't know any better. And I learned it from Undertaker.
Wait, what's the story? We're missing something here. Well, you got to tell us the Undertaker story.
Well, we don't have to tell it.
I'll tell it. I'll tell it. But I feel bad because Undertaker, he is a really good dude and
great guy.
He's a great guy. But I met him when I was 17 years old. I used to be a real big pro wrestling fan, and after I met Undertaker, I stopped watching pro wrestling. I was in state in Chattanooga, and I asked him for an autograph. And I'm 17 years old, but you know, at 17, bro, I was big. I was ripped. I probably look like a grown man. I probably look like I was like in my mid 20s. And I asked him for an autograph. And he was like, no, I don't do autographs. He was in character. And then I was like, man, I was kind of sad and stuff. And I saw him in a hotel lobby, and he was leaving, and a little kid asked him for an autograph, and I saw him sign the little kid autograph. I was like, man, fuck that guy. You know how it goes. So you know how it is. I thought it was racism. I thought a whole bunch of things. And then years go by. I never really brought it up publicly. Years go by, and I was with his manager at the time. And we went to a show. One of my friends was working backstage at the show, taking pictures of the pro wrestlers and stuff. Yeah. And he was doing stuff with the porn stars, and he was like putting them together in pictures and stuff. He got in trouble for it. And he was like, yo, the Taker wanted to meet you. I'm like, the Taker? Who's the Taker? He said, the Undertaker. I said, oh, I don't want to meet him. I met him before. He said, no. He said he never met you. He wanted to meet you. He was a big MMA fan. And then I told him the story. Yeah, I told him the story. And my manager was right there, and my manager heard the story, and I said, no, but don't say nothing. And he went and told the guy. So it got out in the pro wrestling world, and I think some of the pro wrestlers probably think I made it up or because they know the Taker, right? They know Undertaker. They know he's not like that, and they kind of like looked at me funny. But it was never my intention for this story to get out.
Yeah. Well, at least
it's out.
Yeah,
it's out.
It's out.
It's out.
Yeah. At least you cleared up the air, though.
I know, but look, how crazy is that? You meet somebody that you really look up to, and then years later they ask to meet you and stuff. That don't have to happen that often. But I should have just swallowed my pride or whatever thing I had going on. I should have knew that he probably thought I was an adult, and I probably should have met him.
But now you're in his shoes, and that's why now you can see through his eyes, kind of like, oh, well, wait a minute. Okay, you look at things different once you get to that same spot, you know.
Yeah,
it's a unique world though. Once you hit that mainstream celebrity level, and you're like on the move every day, and that to a kid, that's the first time he's ever experiencing you. But for you experience it 7 days a week, every day, so you become numb to it too.
But everything happens for a reason, because Memphis is a big pro wrestling town. So if I hadn't met him, I probably would have been a pro wrestler. I think I might have had more success in MMA. I love MMA now. I still have a love for pro wrestling, but I didn't know you guys worked that hard. I didn't know how hard it was. You guys work like 300 days a year. I was friends with Chris Benoit. RIP before he passed away. Him and we used to text each other and stuff.
Okay, yeah.
And I learned it from him. He told me that like you're always on the road and stuff like that. Because I was still thinking about coming and getting into it back then years ago. He was like, I don't know if you want to do this.
I think it's changed now. They're not wrestling as much, thank God. They're making more money and not wrestling as much, which is great. But at the time back then, when I wrestled, for 20 years, I was on the road 4 days a week minimum.
Wow.
And then sometimes we go to Europe, and I have a 3-week tour of Europe, and I do 20 different cities, 8 different countries. Just boom, 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 go through. And then having to perform at a really high level, it was tough, man. You're like, you don't know how you do it, man. I was like a zombie for 20 years. I'd come home and I would wash my clothes, I'd rest, and right back out.
Every year.
Every week.
Must be hard on the family.
Yeah, man. I just got kudos to my wife for sticking around, man. She could have dumped me a whole bunch of times. But you told me for sure.
It's a unique experience when you talk about wrestling back then, though, the way you talk about it. Like, we saw some recent controversy with the Rey Mysterio online with you saying something about his entrance at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And the way people are looking at characters now and how characters build through social media. Can you clear that up or kind of talk about that?
Yeah. So I was, everything's taken out of context. Mm-hmm. Of course, I guess taken out of context, and I ran with it a little bit because what happened was I had said something like kind of tongue in cheek, kind of funny, like, he was doing stuff on TV with him and his son, and kind of bringing up Eddie's past storyline that he had with Eddie. So they were still kind of using it. So I was like, hey man, we're good. Girls are good. We don't need. Your help. Everybody knows who Eddie is. We don't have to keep, bringing him up for your recognition and for your storyline to keep money on your pockets, basically. Nothing that I didn't do to him when we were rivals on WWE, And so then somebody ran with it and said, Chavo, was mad at Rey Mysterio for bringing up Eddie. And I was like, what? I go, that's not even a story. I said, you want to see a story? I go, hold on. So I text Ray first. I said, Ray, I'm going to say some shit. All BS. It just doesn't mean anything. He's like, all right, cool. And so then I said something like, Rey Mysterio is I don't know what he said, something about he's leeching off the Guerrero name. He's never going to be a Guerrero. I'm sorry that nobody knows who his family is, but he's if you really want to give tribute to the Guerreros, give some money to his kids. That's what you should be doing. You should be, all the money you're making and lining your pockets with using Eddie's name, you should be giving it to his kids. Well, everybody went crazy on that one, right? So then I think Ray was actually really mad at me. And then we were talking a little recently. I'm like, hey, bro, I told you right before it wasn't real. And he was like, no, that's cool, man. It's good. So, everybody makes stuff up. Anything you say, they're going to twist it around. Like anything in this interview is probably going to be twisted around. And it is what it is.
Yeah.
There's always the people that just love to pick the negative out of any podcast or any interview, and because it's a story. I mean, me talking about, hey, I love Rampage Jackson, great. But then some companies say, Chavo loves Rampage Jackson.
Right? He was behind him in the gym.
Man. He was getting hard in the ring.
That's Rampage all the way.
But you're right.
He'd be twisting everybody during the podcast.
Hey, yo.
Bear says Rampage be twisting everybody during the podcast.
He commented on one of my posts. I said, so Zac Efron, I posted, he was talking about, God, man, I was training and, man, I was doing a big crossbody into Chavo and I jumped up high and I came down and smashed him. And he's like, he smashed you? What? And I said, well, I caught him.
You love it, huh?
Yeah, I like messing with my friends, man. It's funny. Y'all know how I am.
So are you and Rey Mysterio cool now? Or is that
no.
strictly just characterization? Like sometimes I lose track. I don't know what's real and what's fake.
Yeah, good. You should. That's good.
We can set up a match between you and Ray. We can set that up.
Yeah,
you know that.
Yeah, me and Ray. And
after my MMA match, we set that up.
Oh man, I choke him out in 2 seconds. Come on. Ray knows it.
So you guys are actually in real life, you're friends, but like the show you're not, or do you actually not even look at it like that? Do you?
No.
Like
So when we're rivals, we're rivals out there, and behind the scenes, it is what it is, and in there, I always tell them, hey, bring it, man. All right, we'll bring it, and we're still putting on a good show, but at the same time, man, it was when I have people come up to me all the time and say, man, I used to hate you, man, when I was a kid. I used to hate you because when you broke Rey Mysterio's knee and you put him out, and because at one point I had hung him upside down on this big, like, truss thing, this light truss, and just kept hitting his knee, boom, boom, boom. Well, he had to go to knee surgery anyway, so I was like, hey, man, let me just knock your knee up a little bit, and that explains you going to knee surgery. You'll be gone. And it's like, all right, cool. So I sent flowers to his wife, Angie, and I was like, hey, give me your address, man. I'm going to send Angie some flowers. Because she was upset because I was kind of, on TV, I was really, really, really mean to him. Like, really mean. And I was jumping him and, like, taking his mask. I was wearing his mask and I was pretending I was Rey Mysterio and talking about that Chavo Guerrero is my favorite wrestler, stuff like that. But, so she, and I know her really well, but people start believing in it,
Even people that knows the job?
Even people that know. Yeah, and I told her, because, man, I was beating him up on TV pretty good. You're still, you know, he's pro wrestling, so I'm not trying to hit him in the face, but man, I was beating him up. I was throwing him into freaking, and then he'll take it too. You know, he's not complaining about it, but we were beating each other up pretty good. And yeah, I sent some flowers to his wife and said, hey, much love. Don't worry. He's come back in one or two pieces. He'll be all intact, but it may be in a couple of pieces.
I've heard stories that some pro wrestlers don't like each other. Like Andre the Giant, he didn't like Macho Man Randy Savage or something.
Yeah,
like that.
Andre didn't like a lot of other big guys. Like Big John Studd, he didn't really like. So he would take his liberties of them on the ring, you know.
Really?
Yeah.
Like really hit them.
Oh yeah, and Andre was a giant, so it's like the Big Show.
Yeah.
The Big Show, you know, at one point was legit 7 foot, 500 pounds more. He was the only wrestler that I ever knew that made his weight lighter, because he was like 520 or something like that, and he would say, "Oh, I'm 500." We're always like, you know, okay, I'm 190. I'm saying, "Oh, I'm 210." You know, but I wasn't, you know. But yeah, he was huge. Oh man, he's a giant. He was huge. So we got into a little altercation in the locker room one time, like legit altercation.
Big Show or Andre?
Me and Big Show.
Oh yeah, Big Show.
And thank God everybody stepped in, because, you know, I'm not stupid. I know my limits. But, you know, I didn't say the first F you. I didn't stand up first, but I wasn't going to not stand up either. Right, it was like, we were jawing each other and throwing slurs and just going for it. But thank God there was people in front of us, because I could feel his strength through 8 people. And big guys like Billy Gunn, who's like, 6'5", 250 pounds. Nothing. He could have just eaten every one of us. It was like I could just feel his strength. It was crazy. Wow. And if you see him one time at, it was at WrestleMania, he was doing something with Floyd Mayweather.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And Mayweather, he always had his posse with him. And some big old boys, man, big old guys. They were like, his bodyguards were legit, huge dudes. And so Big Show gets on his knees, and with backstage, he tells Mayweather, hey, hit me when you got to hit me in TV. He hit me really hard. Mayweather's pro, man. He's wham and broke Big Show's nose. One hit, because Big Show was to put his hands on me, like, go ahead and hit me, and broke his nose. And you saw the freak come out, like, and he started chasing every one of Mayweather's posse, whatever. These 6'5", 6'8" guys were running, like sprinting out there, because they saw a monster come out. It was crazy.
He really wanted to kill him.
I wanted to kill him. He was crazy. And then Mayweather had, he was flashing money in the ring. Well, he dropped. He had like $5,000 cash. And there was a lot of wrestlers at the ring. It was like a wrestling samaj thing type thing. Well, he dropped like $5,000 in the ring and never found it. One of the wrestlers picked it up. We don't know who, and put it in his pocket. It was like, oh, hey.
You know who? You just not saying.
No, I swear, if I would have known, I'd rat him out now, because he had to give me half. I told him, but we don't know. We don't know who did it.
I met the Big Show one time when I was there for WWE. When I was there for 18 promotion.
I met you back before I really knew. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and nobody would let me powerbomb him. They wanted me to do some wrestling, so nobody would let me powerbomb him. So I did the choke slam, and Big Show was like, "Oh, now you got to do my shit."
Yeah. Oh no, so that's the first time I met you, and I was like, "Hey man," before he lived out here, I think, and I was like, "Hey man, how are you doing, Chavo Guerrero?" You're like, "I know who you are." I was like, "Oh shit." Yeah. Rampage knew I was. I was all right.
How was he as a wrestler?
Oh man, he does everything. He can do anything.
Yeah.
He says he can do anything. Come on. He just comes in there and howls and power bombs people. And
why didn't you stay in wrestling?
I try to go to TNA. I'm not going to badmouth them, but they were stupid. Hold on. I did badmouth.
Wait, you just said I'm not.
I'm not trying to badmouth, but they were fucking horrible.
They never trained me. They put a wrestling ring in my gym.
I remember.
And they never trained me, and then they never used me. They just I guess they just didn't know what they were doing. I was in like the main event Mafia with Sting.
Yeah.
And
you were signed to them?
Yeah. I was in TNA. Okay, so I did a deal when I left the UFC. I did a deal with Paramount Pictures where they was going to put me in movies, give me a reality show, have me doing pro wrestling and fighting on the Bellator. They was going to do all that. It was supposed to be like a $10 million deal, and my manager, he did all the contract stuff like that. And then to be 100% honest, they were just doing all that just so I can fight for them for cheap. They didn't mean to
for Bellator.
Yeah. They didn't mean to. They just wanted to rip me off.
Yeah.
Wow. So it didn't last long.
In the early stages of 2000s, like of WWE in the early 2000s, what was the backstage presence like? Talk to me about some of the guys back there and these characters that are larger than life to us. You know, I'm 33, growing up, grew up loving, you know, Macho Man Randy Savage, grew up loving everything that Triple H would do in Stone Cold and all of these things, and you guys and your family. Like, I want to know what was the energy like backstage?
Man, we were on the road all the time, you know, but that was like our family, you know, because they're our family more than our other family, our real family was, because I was with them more. You know, I was with these guys, you know, like I said, 250 plus days a year, like with them all the time. And I mean, one year I was on, God, man, one of my biggest years I ever made as far as pro wrestling style. And I was on the road 300, I was in a hotel room 300 days that year. That means I was home 65 days the entire year.
Wow.
I was home seeing my family for 65 days that year. And I was 300 days with the guys. So, you know, it's like when you hang with friends like that much, you know, you got inside jokes, you got a camaraderie, you get in fights, you know, I miss it. It's almost like we were, and not to compare it, but it's almost like we were like at war, like as our brothers, man. Like I had guys that were just like we would die for each other, you know, like does it make sense? Like guys that were on the road, we had so many, we'd go out together, we'd eat together, we'd train together, we'd wrestle together. Then the only time we weren't apart is that I'd go to my room and go to his room and crash out. In the morning, I'd meet you down for breakfast and we'll go train, right? Get up, meet a certain time for breakfast, go work out, drive to the next city and do it all over again.
Have fans ever bumped into you with somebody you wasn't supposed to be with, like eating out or?
Yeah, but I wouldn't hang with, I came from the old school. So the old school is like, if you have a rivalry against somebody, you don't hang with them in public.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we didn't do that. So like me and Eddie, we were big tag team together and family. Well, then I turned on Eddie. We stopped traveling together. We stopped, going to the same places. Even when he won the championship, he won the WWE championship belt. And there's video footage of him, coming back and everybody backstage congratulating him, Vince McMahon and all the wrestlers hugging him and all stuff. And I would not go up to him backstage, not backstage at all, me or my dad. When we were in the locker room, we hugged each other and cried and like, oh my God, it was amazing. Like, that was so great, but not on camera. Man, I did not do that.
I don't think you understand how some of the fans really take that stuff. When I did do when I worked with Tito, he hit me in the head with a hammer.
Yeah. And
then the next day I had to fly out and a grown ass man saw me at the airport. He was like, man, when did you get out of the hospital? I was like, man, I just got out of the hospital a couple hours ago. He said, man, you heal fast. You don't need, I said, yeah, I got a head on so you guys don't see it. Like I had to keep that up. I just had to keep it. Yeah. He was a grown ass man, bro.
So like they're believing this so in depth.
They suspend the belief in reality, So it's called kayfabe. That's what we call it in pro wrestling. Kayfabe. That means that you're keeping suspend that belief all the time. And I compare it to like magic, like Chris Angel, right? Chris Angel, like the magician. We know it's an illusion. He's not really like a magic unless he's like a satanic guy or something like that. But he's not the devil. But like it's an illusion. But we know when I see him floating, I'm like, oh my God, how's he doing that? What the heck? But the second I see him floating, like I see the string, I'm like, okay, change the channel. This is a work. Same thing with pro wrestling. They know it's not real, but then you see you get hit by a hammer and you're like, oh man, I don't know, maybe that's real. So if you would have seen him the next day and had his hat off, hey, what's up? How you doing? The guy would be like, oh man, wrestling's fake. But you knew that was real anyways, right? It's like entertainment, or a storyline. But he kept playing with it and played along with the storyline. That man's probably like, Rampage Jackson, man, he can heal. He's got some healing powers.
Yeah. I kept. No one taught me none of that. I just figured like common sense to keep it up, man. Yeah. I kept it up. Thank God I was wearing a hat because I didn't think nobody thought that was a real hammer. It looked real though. That hammer looked real.
Did it hurt when it hit you?
No, it's foam.
Oh, it's a foam.
Wow.
It was foam. He hit me with it.
And sometimes you don't want that because if you drop it, it bounces. It bounces. Yeah. So sometimes, if anyone hit me with like a 2x4, Hacksaw Jim Duggan used to have a 2x4. I said, get the real 2x4 and just work it how you hit me. Because if you hit me with the fake one, it looks, hits you and kind of bends. So Hit me with a real one. Just don't really hit. Just hit me. But
that chair, man, that's a real chair.
Those are real chairs,
man. You can't work those. And then even in like Hollywood, we'll do something with like a chair, doing a wrestling spot on a TV show. Wow. Well, sometimes they'll try to get like a rubber chair. Well, man, the rubber chairs hurt more. That's hard rubber. Those rubber chairs hurt more than steel chair. Like steel chair just hit me. There's just ways to do it. Yeah. I have the sweet spot in the middle of that chair, and that's where you want to get hit. But you hit your head, your head will dent that thing.
Yeah,
wow, absolutely.
And the garbage cans, those
that's real.
Yeah, they don't hurt though. They don't look like
it. Just depends. So if there's a sweet spot. There's a sweet spot, like in the round spot, you hit. But sometimes you get hit with the other end. It's got the handle. I mean, I've seen guys take chunks out of their heads because they got hit wrong.
Damn. I was doing this.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've seen that. Yeah, totally.
I was working with these girls pro wrestling, and this girl put the girl in the trash can, then drop kicked the trash can.
So you don't know it's coming, and you're like so you got a trash can hitting your head. So yeah, man, it's still pro wrestling. You can't insult the people's intelligence by putting some rubber trash can out there in front of the people. It's not like we say, cut, okay, bring in the rubber trash can. Okay, no, it's live.
There's a full
so
audience
you can't, sometimes you just can't work it.
I'm going to set the record straight for all the MMA fans out there. I think pro wrestling, I've done it. I think pro wrestling is harder than MMA. It's tougher than the guys.
In what way?
In the way, like he said, he has to wrestle 4 times a week. Say you get hurt on the first or second match, and you on a contract, you still gotta go. They going out there hurt. They're the ultimate athletes. You see the stuff they be doing, like the high risk maneuvers and stuff like that. Like MMA, the most I fought when I was young 6 times a year. These guys are going 6 times a week.
And that's so Don Fry and Dan Severn, 2 UFC Hall of Famers, they have a podcast as well, right? Toxic Masculinity, with them talking about it. And I was on it, and they're talking about it, and Don Fry goes, all my injuries, he goes, they're not from MMA. He goes, yeah, I broke my nose or this from MMA. He goes, my injuries, my bad back where I can't walk, he goes, that's from pro wrestling. Oh, he went to Japan.
Yeah, New Japan.
New Japan, was wrestling, trying to be Ric Flair and falling all over the place. And he says, that's where I'm really hurt. And, at Ken Shamrock, when Shamrock left, he went, was fighting, then went to WWE for a while, right?
He's
WWF.
the first one, yeah.
But then left and went back to MMA. And we were like, Ken, why are you leaving, pro wrestling to go back to MMA? He's like, man, it's easier on me. And we're like, easier? What are you talking? He's like, no, yeah, I'm fighting. That's, harder. He goes, but I fight, 4 times a year, 6 times a year. I don't have to train all year round. I'm not on the road. He was like, my body can't handle what you guys are doing. He's like, it's constant. I can't heal. I'm constantly going, constantly, getting no sleep and can't eat. And so it's not harder. It's different, but it's
I say it's harder.
Hard.
I've had a small taste of it when I was doing TNA.
So, exactly. Exactly.
Tits and ass. Yeah. It was ran by a lady, huh?
Yeah, I thought it was. And because that's like I was there at the same time you were there. So it was TNA at one time had I thought the best locker room in wrestling. I mean, it was like Kurt Angle and Rob Van Dam and Samoa Joe.
I learned so much from that guy. He taught me so much. I didn't know what was going on. I want to thank him, bro. He took his time and he had patience with me to show me the ropes and everything.
Yeah, he's awesome. He's he trains MMA. He's pretty good at MMA. He's a Samoan. They're all tough. Yeah. But he's a Cali boy too. But he's great. I mean, so all these guys were at TNA, and we had one of the best locker rooms. But then, you think you're going to kind of like, oh man, I think we're going to change wrestling. But then you kind of realize like, okay, it's not the WWE, and they have a total different business model. And it just, it was what it was. You saw it. You saw it. It was what it was.
I think
it's changed since then. I'll give him some props. They definitely have changed, but there you go.
I say since Barrett looks kind of Mexican, we put him in pro wrestling. You be his manager, and you train him, and you go out there. There'd be a whole new show. You go out there.
I wrestled one time with Rikishi and the Black Pearl, those guys.
Did he stank face you?
Yeah, he put it in my face.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah.
That's a big ass in your face.
At my pinball park, SC Village. We did a little
that's
event.
right.
Yeah, you were there.
Yeah.
I have the video of you there. Actually, I have a photo because
Rampage
was showing me a trick that night.
Yeah.
And then Rampage was showing me some move. and Rikishi and everybody was there, and Rampage accidentally hit me, and he gave me a black eye, and I had that black eye for like
accident.
I don't remember that part. I don't.
No,
remember
I had
part.
that black eye for like at least 6 weeks.
No, I don't remember.
No.
Black guys don't last 6
Yes,
weeks.
they did.
6 weeks.
You punched me so
You're
hard
a
in the
slow
face.
healer, man.
So this was the photo. That was Rampage,
Right.
and then that was the black eye that I had.
Oh,
He
yeah,
made
man.
that part up.
No, I didn't. See?
That's not even a black eye.
Yeah, it is. See that?
Yeah, no, dude,
He was showing me a move, and then there was a bunch of girls around, and then Rampage accidentally disconnected.
Was I drinking?
Yeah, a little bit.
No cap. Did I hit you? No cap.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
got to ask him no
Look,
cap.
that's when you were like Chuck Liddell. You had the mohawk.
How you find his picture so fast?
Remember that? You don't remember that?
No,
Yeah,
I remember being there, but I don't remember showing you no move or hitting you.
Yeah, it was insane. You were jacked. You were wearing the Memphis.
Oh, look at that. That's when I was on that shit.
What were you on?
Testosterone, probably. Look how big I was.
Jack.
Yeah, he was jacked. He had the green Lambo.
Oh,
He was
yeah.
going
Green
crazy.
Apple, yeah, man, totally. Yeah, it was awesome.
When you look at guys like CM Punk, you got to work with him for a little bit.
Sure.
Obviously, he got kicked out of the AEW, I think, for like a brawl backstage or something, some drama. You came from the similar era. Like, what do you think the experience is like working with him getting kicked out and then coming back? Like, what kind of happened there? What do you think happens there next?
Well, I wasn't there. I had, was not at AEW at the time. From what I've heard hearsay is that, he got into an altercation backstage with a couple of the wrestlers who are executive producers on the show.
Oh, wow.
So when that happens, they're gonna have to suspend everybody. With all wrestling's very back in the day it was very carny in a sense to where it was independent kind of. Now it's just big business. There's HR and so HR kind of suspended everybody. And,
HR in wrestling.
yeah, totally there is, man. And then once that happened. I think he came back again, got into another altercation, and then he split. So people thought that he wasn't going to do anything for a while and kind of just lay low. And next thing you know, WWE brings him in. Well, WWE's pretty smart. And I mean, that's one of their highest rated, shows, CM Punk coming back. And what they said, they got more hits on that Twitter post or X post, what's it called now, than they've ever had. The number one rated post of all time for WWE.
Wow.
Because of that. So they're pretty smart. They'll put aside their personal feelings because they didn't like CM Punk for a long time because he left there in bad terms.
To go to the UFC?
No, just quit.
Oh, got it.
And then he eventually started doing UFC. But, or kind of.
What's up with that? He didn't win not one fight, did he?
No.
I'm gonna tell you what.
But then again, I love MMA too, but I'm not going to go to UFC my very first fight. I'm going to go try to work my ways up the ranks, and kind of did. But he went to UFC the very first time. That's tough.
But that's UFC. I don't think they dealt with him smart. They should have gave him like somebody that was. They had the biggest show in the world. They could have found somebody just coming off amateur to team him up. Just
to beat him. Yeah. Beat him 2 or 3, and then set up a big fight. And whether he wins or loses, whatever, makes so much more money. Yeah, for sure. But
they was wrong in the way they did him.
That's tough.
How was he as a wrestler?
Oh, he's great. He's great. Yeah. I worked with him. I won the ECW championship from him, but I think we worked together for about 3 months. I never had one issue with him. He gets a bad rap sometimes.
Why is that?
Just, he's a rebel and doesn't like, authority.
CM Punk.
Yeah, he doesn't like authority sometimes, but I never had one issue with him, man. 3 straight months. We worked each other 4 days a week, and we'd just get we would just call it. What I mean, call it in the ring. We wouldn't talk backstage. Just like, okay, who's winning, who's losing? Okay, let's go. Then we do the rest of it in the ring.
Who decides that? The writers?
Yeah,
just like
Vince McMahon. McMahon.
He's the writer.
He's the main guy. Anything well, I don't know how it is now because I've been gone, but anything goes through Vince McMahon when I was there. Like he may have writers and stuff, but everything goes to him. So he yays and nays everything.
Like he walks in the locker room and says, "You're losing tonight."
Well, they're not going to say that. He's not personal. Like he's going to come to you, but when you get the sheet, it's like we have producers who are like the ex wrestlers that help with the matches, and so he's working your match tonight at like an ex Mike Rotundo was IRS or Ted DiBiase or Fit Finley, and they'll come to you and say, "Hey, okay, so I have your match tonight. So okay, you're winning, you're losing. You guys got 8 minutes or 2. You have 5 minutes, then a commercial break, and then you come back for another 5 minutes, whatever it is. And all right, if there's storyline that we're trying to work to like WrestleMania is coming up. Okay, so we need to tell this story in the match. How you guys do it, sometimes it's kind of up to you how you get there. But we need to tell the story. So we need Chavo to be dropped, and we hit him with a chair. We're gonna lay him flat in the ring. Well, that will play into like next week, you know. So sometimes how we get there is kind of up to us, in a sense.
Damn, that's a lot of strategizing.
Oh, it was a lot. There's a lot of goes into.
Yeah, you know what I want to know. What was the hardest part for me was the monologues. How did you deal with that? Like you got to look in the camera. It's totally different from any movies or TV show that you look right into the camera. And you got to memorize the stuff. Did you make it your own? How did you deal with that?
So back when I was doing it, they would give us kind of bullet points to hit. And some people, you know, they try to write a lot of things out for them, but they really give us bullet points. Okay, you're talking about Eddie. This is, you know, the Royal Rumble, big Royal Rumble match you guys are getting to, or whatever, you know, fall brawl match. And you guys have to talk about how, you know, he double crossed you. You're the heel, so you have to be the heel out there and talk about how he double crossed you. Certain bullet points. So I would get there. You got 2 minutes. That means not a minute and 50 seconds. It's not 2 minutes and 5 seconds. It's 2 minutes. So I have a guy down there by the ring that would be kind of looking at me and kind of give me a countdown. So I got to keep talking or not keep talking, take my spots, my spaces to fill that 2 minutes.
Yeah, that's hard. That was the hardest thing for me. Yeah.
It's really, really, really tough. It's really hard. Now, a lot of times they're giving you this, you know, this 2-page promo, and you got to memorize it in an hour, and you got to go out there and do it live in front of 10,000 people and millions watching. Pro wrestling is not easy, man.
Especially the scenes you guys do behind and backstage. You know what I'm talking about? Oh, that's those like vignettes. You get the script right then and there too as well. It's like soap operas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we got to the point that we were really good. We knew our characters really well. We knew where we were going. So a lot of times they would like, all right, Chavo Eddie, 2 minutes, go, and we would just go crazy, play off each other and talk about grandma. Well, grandma's mad at you. Well, grandma was mad at you because you did that. And talk about, but Theo Juan talked about it. And we just kind of go back and forth and play off each other. That was awesome. But it's not always that easy.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Well, you see a lot of the inspiration from UFC's like walk-in videos, like WWE and WWF, like had a lot of that content where they're walking in through the locker rooms and they're walking through the aisles. Like a lot of UFC's behind the scenes content is them walking through those hallways and walking to the locker room. Right. And like no other sport really has it. You don't see much of that in baseball, and you hardly ever see any of that in basketball or football. So you see a lot of similarities in how they produce these shows now too.
Very similar. Now, you know, with music entrances and explosions and stuff, you know, Pride was really good at that, right? Pride. And I love Mayhem would come out and he'd be dancing. He had like routines and stuff of dancing with people. And
who do you think is the most undervalued WWE character of all time?
Of all time, wow, undervalued.
Someone that the WWE, WWF
didn't cash in. The cat didn't cash in. They could have made a lot more money on, huh? That's a great question, man. There's a lot of wrestlers out there that were incredible, great wrestlers, and you thought that, you know, they'd go further in wrestling than they did. Mm-hmm. But you never know, man. Like, guys, that's a tough one. I don't know who's of all time. I didn't think about that. Like guys that were never like champion, like Razor Ramon. Razor Ramon was never the WWE champion. Ramon. Yeah, even though he did really, really well, he was never the WWE champion. He was never the WCW champion. You know,
that's a good name.
Yeah, guys, just didn't live up to their whole potential. I don't know. I don't know. It's a great question, man.
Yeah, like I look at like say the NWO and WCW, like one of my favorite groups of all time. Like the that's like the wrestling jacket that I grew up wearing.
Yeah, NWO.
Like those were like my guys.
It was huge. It changed wrestling.
And it made me excited for Hulk Hogan, and it got me excited for these guys and their whole swag. Right. Do you feel like there's like certain groups that those were like turning points in wrestling, or that was like a way where that new mainstream came?
Totally. Look at DX, D-Generation X in WWE. Almost a takeoff from the NWO for first NWO, and then DX was kind of like, NWO was first, but then DX came along, and they almost took it to like a different level, right? They did their own thing. So there's definitely these groups and these factions, that changed wrestling and had big impacts on wrestling. Look at the Nation of Domination, right? With Rock. Rock was, he was a good guy that people hated. They hated him. They almost got fired. They almost let him go. Then they put him in the Nation Domination with Ron Simmons and D'Lo Brown and Godfather, but no, what his name in that was. The Godfather was he had a bunch of different names as well. He was awesome, but and became The Rock from there. That was crazy. Ron Simmons. You ever know Ron Simmons?
Ron Simmons, no.
Ron Simmons was he was in the APA. He used to go damn. Because Ron Simmons was a man among men.
Yeah,
like he was Florida State nose tackle, was 4th in the Heisman as a nose tackle, which is crazy. Bobby Bowden said that's the best football player he ever taught or he ever coached. Then he goes into pro wrestling, and he's so strong. He was the first black champion, first black heavyweight champion. He was a WCW champion, and the coolest guy. But no one messed with Ron. Ron was like, there was a time when the Steiners, remember the Steiner brothers?
I remember the Steiner brothers.
The Steiner brothers were two tough guys from Michigan.
Rick and Scott.
Yeah, Rick and Scott Steiner, right? Well, they would mess with everybody. They'd be backstage and they'd always be messing you and pulling your hair and giving you wedgies and kind of messing with everybody. So one time, just all in fun, but they would always messing. Two big old tough corn-fed guys. And then somebody asked Ron, and without Ron, his heart rate would never get above 80. Like even if he's getting a good fight, was always just chill. So one time he's brushing his hair, and they go, "Hey Ron, Steiners are always fucking with people. How come they never fuck with you?" And he goes, "That's because I'm unfuckable." That's Ron, man. He's awesome. Yeah.
Hey, have you seen that documentary, Dark Side of the Cage?
Dark Side of the Ring?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So there was the second season, episode 1 and episode 2, where I was on it, talking about Eddie and Chris Benoit, that thing. So I was a supervising producer on that show.
What was that black guy's name that they was talking about? He was hurting people for real, and he got sued or went to jail.
Oh, that was New Jack.
New Jack. I did a movie, an MMA movie earlier this year, and one of the director producers said he wanted me to play New Jack.
New Jack.
He said, "Your fat ass got to lose some weight though," and then
that was crazy.
They want to do. They think about doing a movie about him. That guy was really crazy.
I say he's crazy. He just, he's from the hood, man, and he was pro wrestling, and he just, was just like, F it, man. He just went out there and just would,
Bro, he was really hurting people. He hurt like some kid that was 17 or something.
Yeah, they told him okay, to do in wrestling what they call cut you with a razor blade. So people don't understand why would they do that? Well, it's drama, right? So there's 2 ways to get blood in pro wrestling. Well, you could do it the harder way, we would call it, where you're actually really punching somebody, but that scars you all up, and you got stitches all over the place. Or you can do it with that little razor blade, that little cut, and that little cut. It's very superficial, but will bleed a lot. And the only reason we're doing that is why is there blood on a movie or TV show? It's for the drama, right? Well, we don't have the liberty of going, okay, cut, bring in the makeup artists, So you'd be doing the blood, blood for the drama of the story of the wrestling. So the story with New Jack, and of course I wasn't there, but I've seen the documentary and the Dark Side of the Ring, and there was this kid that was talking about, I think he was a referee too. He's like, okay, well, we'll do something at the end. It was a small show, and I'll tell you what, I'll have New Jack, I'll call it getting color, getting blood. And I'll go ahead and get blood, and but you go ahead and cut me, which is stupid. You never let anybody cut you. You do it
yourself.
Cut yourself, absolutely. You never let anybody cut you. So New Jack went on. He goes, "Oh yeah, all right," and went whop and cut like a 5-inch or 8-inch thing on his forehead. And the kid was almost died. Yeah, cut an artery and got crazy. Yeah, totally.
That's one way to get a lot of blood.
Yeah, there was one time that there was a guy named Vader. He's in Japan, big dude, and he was cutting himself, and one of the other wrestlers kicked him. When he kicked him, the razor blade gets stuck in his forehead. It gets stuck in his forehead, and he's like, I can't get it out. So he breaks it off, and there's still a little piece sticking out. So the other guy's punching him in the forehead and going, ow, because there's part of the razor blade hanging out of his forehead. So add the next, when they get to the locker room, you got to get pliers and pull it out.
Oh, this ain't a game. No. Wrestling ain't a game.
Have you seen the Dudley brothers?
Oh yeah, Dudley Boys.
The Dudley Boys.
All
Oh
the
my God, he got scars all on his forehead.
All scars on the
Oh my
forehead
God.
from all that stuff. Yeah,
That's
man,
crazy.
There was a lot of wrestlers like that. Abdullah the Butcher back in the day used to have all this, like he would bleed every single night. That was his thing. Like he was called the Butcher. He would make people bleed. He'd bring forks to the ring, and it was like crazy. But he used to have all the scar tissue on his forehead and stuff. And
That's crazy, bro.
As we look back, like at the career, you've had like a legendary career. Your family's name is legendary, and everybody who knows wrestling knows your family. Like you said when you walked in here, if you don't, then
They don't,
right. If they don't count.
They don't count.
And so, a few months after Eddie's death, it seemed like the WWE was using that as like a storyline and really playing into it. Do you ever feel like that was like maybe not as tasteful as you would have liked? Do you feel like they went overboard with that?
Yeah, sometimes I think that it's replayed over and over again, and it's called cheap heat to me. Sometimes I just think that there's a time and a place for it, and sometimes there's not. Sometimes it's just like, okay, it's lazy writing to me sometimes. And you're constantly bringing up, Eddie's death for a promo, because one guy's going against another guy that used to be friends with Eddie, and it just gets old. It gets old. To me, it's lazy writing. If that's what you got to do to always think of something, then it's been done. Just play it out. Let's go on and do something else. To me, that's me personally. I get it from the fans as well sometimes. Yeah, are you gonna get a quick ooh factor, factor? But sometimes just play it out,
Mm-hmm. And you were like, closely involved with two very untimely deaths, because also Chris Benoit and Eddie. Do you feel like this affected your wrestling career? Do you feel like it could have leveraged the WWE making you even a bigger contender in terms of storyline? Do you ever feel it pulled you away from wrestling too much, or?
God, it's a good question. I've had it before. Everything happens for a reason, man. And I wouldn't be where I'm at today if the things in your life didn't happen. If you didn't have all these experiences, you almost would cease to exist. But
it's a good way to look at it.
Man, I just like the history made you who you are, and unfortunately, it did happen. But at the same time, I was fortunate that Eddie, really died in my arms. I got to see him, man. Like he didn't die in his wife's arms or his kids, man. That would have been horrible for that, for them to actually have a heart attack and die right there. But with me, man, it was almost like a gift. I go back and look at it like that way. There's two ways to look at it. It really sucked, the whole thing with Chris Benoit. It really, really sucked. That wasn't the Chris that we knew. He was one of my best friends. Mm-hmm. But he called me right before, I guess, that stuff happened with his son. Like, let me know, like, hey, man, just would text me, like, okay, whatever he said. But I guess that's, he thought that much of me to be able to call me before that happened, and told me he loved me. And I was like, that was really weird. Why did he tell me he loved me? Like, we always told each other, but it was out of context.
Yeah. He was a real quiet guy, Chris Benoit.
Super quiet, man. Super quiet. We used to call him the silent crippler.
Yeah, I met his son one time years ago. He was a big MMA fan.
Yeah. David, his older son. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And as we wrap up here, I kind of just want to know who is on your Mount Rushmore. My last question for you. It's so insightful to kind of hear you talk about wrestling, and the family history and what you guys have done for wrestling is phenomenal.
Thank you.
But on your current Mount Rushmore of pro wrestling, who is the 4 greatest of all time?
Man, the greatest of all time. You got Ric Flair. Ric Flair for sure, man. Yeah. He's he's kind of one of those last champions that traveled from promotion to promotion, defended that belt all over the world. I gotta say, not just because he's my uncle, but Eddie Guerrero. I think Shawn Michaels.
Oh wow,
Shawn Michaels was very instrumental in doing what he did. It's either got to be The Rock or Stone Cold, but God, there's something. You got Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan's there. How could you leave Hulk Hogan out? Man, I might put like 2 more heads up there on Mount Rushmore, like 6 people. It's tough. But, wrestling wouldn't be what it is now without Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
But then you got The Rock. He's The Rock. Stone Cold. God, it's tough, man. So Hulk Hogan's got to be the last one then. Right? I mean, it's pretty good, right? Yeah. It's pretty good. Yeah. And the reason I say Eddie is because he was his size wrestler that could do everything, that was one of the best technical wrestlers in ring, one of the best promo guys, one of the best character guys who could make you laugh, could make you cry, could do everything. You know, could work tag team, could work singles, could be the most dastardly heel that you hated, or could be the most amazing, you know, babyface, good guy that you love, that you'd cry for. So, man, that's mine.
Wow, yeah, that's a top 4. That's hard,
right?
So hard to beat. I mean, those are all legends.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I'm good. And
You
then,
good? You done?
And then you can.
All right.
Yep.
Man, I didn't expect for me to learn so much about wrestling and stuff right now.
Yeah, man. You know, we know each other for so long. We have been talking about wrestling.
I know.
Just messing around. Yeah.
I know. Yeah, we never really talk
yeah.
about. I never really interviewed you. I probably should have.
Yeah. Over some Cavassier.
Yeah.
At your house or no? Or no, you over your Corona, you drink it out of your side of your lips.
Man, you got a good memory.
Why do you do that, man? I go, why do you drink your Corona out of the side of your lips? He goes, I don't know, man. I just do it like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I always like to be different from everybody. That's why I wear my watch on my right.
Like, do you? Is that why?
Yeah. I don't want to be like it. But I think because I was born left-handed as well, my dad changed me. So it actually does feel funny on my left
Really?
hand. Yeah.
So you're left-handed, and then he makes you start writing different?
He made me right-handed. I did it with my oldest son as well. I didn't know any better. Should have left him alone.
Wow.
And it's crazy. Like three of my kids are left-handed.
Wow.
Man, it's crazy. So it's just crazy. Like, you know how black people are, you know, weird. Like, oh, you evil if you left-handed. So he made me right-handed.
Just think, you have, well, that's probably why you got power in both arms, though, right? In both hands?
Yeah, I think that's probably what it is.
Right?
I didn't even think about that.
Can knock you out with left, knock you out with the right.
Yeah, back when I first started learning Muay Thai, my jab was so good, I used to drop people with my jab.
Yeah.
And I had no idea. Then I started training with this boxing coach, and he was left-handed, and he held the jab different, and it kind of messed my jab up. I've never gotten it back.
Really?
Never gotten it back.
Get out of here.
Yeah, I used to have a powerful jab. I remember dropping people.
Yeah, with a jab.
Yeah,
That's nice.
And sparring and stuff like that.
Wow, that's amazing, dude.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna wrap it up. We had you here long enough.
Wrap it up, yo, bam. Wrap it up.
Dude, what an honor.
It's been an honor, bro.
Thanks, man. No, man, it's so great catching up with you guys and meeting you, Vince.
Amazing.
Yeah. It's been another one. Our first pro wrestling legend in the house, Chavo and Bear. You the man. Thank you for putting this together, man.
No, this was all you. I told him, yo, we need someone to kick off the wrestling department of the podcast. He goes, I got the guy. I got a legend. I got to hit him up.
Love it.
Hit you up. The fans here and the staff here went crazy when they found out you were our first grad.
Thank you.
They all loved you. You know, so it's an exciting time. Obviously, what we're doing here at Jackson and trying to build the brand is something that, you know, we're trying to build a community together and now build multiple aspects of combat sports. So to have you kind of kick off the wrestling side is going to be amazing.
Yeah. And if you guys haven't checked it out already, check out the movie that's coming out. What is
Iron Claw coming out December 22nd. So it'll probably be out by the time this airs, but in theaters worldwide.
And what's your social medias? I want to plug your social medias.
Check me out on Instagram at Chavo Guerrero Jr. And then I do Twitter, or I guess call it X now, at Mex Warrior. And that's kind of everything. Everything else kind of plays off that.
Yeah. Man, thanks for coming, bro.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me, man.
Amazing.
Respect, man. Great catching up. Great copping up. And
Amazing, brother. Thank you,
Appreciate
bro.
you.
Your boy finna sign out. That's my sign out. Fuck y'all. No, for real though. I'm joking.
No, you might have to leave that. Yeah, just leave this running. Yeah, just run the tape. You can do it again if you want. I'm leaving all this in there.
Hey, for real though, leave us a comment on the next pro wrestler you guys want us to have on the show. You know, so it was an honor to have my brother up in here. Chavo is the man for making time to come down. It's Christmas time, and he made the time for us. That means a lot. So y'all leave a comment and make sure y'all, you know, let us know who y'all want. And then whoever y'all want, go to their page and blow them up. Say, hey, y'all got to go to Jackson. Come talk to Barry Rampage.